Hi, welcome to episode 5 of Karaoke Q&A. Hi, Joni.
Hi, Hal.
Hi, Michael. Hey, I want to introduce Michael Amburgey. Did I do that right? Okay. He is with the producer of KaraoQ and KaraoQ 360.
That's right.
And he's our guest today. We want to find out a little bit more about Michael. I know you guys have heard about KaraoQ, but how's it going in the bars? How's it going?
It's going really good. You know, we're actually going through right now what we kind of consider some cycles of learning. So as we continue to kind of figure out what works best to get patrons to download the app, what works best in order to get them to use it to sign up for songs, to tip, to bump. It's obviously a very big shift, like a complete different shift from what they're used to. So where they go from the printed songbook and the pieces of paper to move into a mobile app, the way to drive the mass benefit to the venue and to the DJ is to have them using the app itself. So, for instance, in Columbus, Ohio, we have a DJ that's using the kiosk, which is the tablet-based version.
Okay.
That's done really, really well for him. He's got about 90% of his patrons using the kiosk today, and then they're converting over to the mobile app. So it's kind of winging them into that process.
Right, so the kiosk is more for the guys that don't have a smartphone or don't have a mobile phone.
Phone could be dead, they don't have it,
Okay.
And it's just a way to get them to kind of transition initially off the songbook so he can save the, as one of the DJs called it, an exhaustive expense of maintaining the printed songbook.
It is exhaustive and expensive.
And then you worry about if some drunk person spills beer on it or it gets ripped up or torn up and you're just seeing money go out the window.
Right.
In San Antonio, we have a DJ that's exclusively using print material. So we have 3 or 4 different sets of flyers, coasters, table tents. So they're utilizing those to see what the user adoption is like using those types of materials.
Wait, how does
exactly. How does that work?
Putting
with
the
table
so
tent?
scanning code or something on that?
QR code.
it's just user awareness. So they can scan a code. It's got a URL.
Okay.
But it just simply informs them it's in the App Store, it's in Google Play.
Right.
It's called KaraoQ.
Okay.
It allows you to do these things.
Here's your book.
Kind of a point of sale. Almost like a
Exactly.
point of sale.
Okay.
So if you go into a restaurant, you see a table tent that tells you about some type of special, or Red Robin is it called Red Robin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
the
hamburger
restaurants.
place, yeah. So like they have a little promo card about their new mobile app and stuff like that. Kind of the same concept. And then we also have Venue Queue, which is displaying the actual queue of KaraoQ on a television screen in the venue. And that's also doing really well, and we're using that in Nashville. So we have several pilot sites that we're trying out different things in order to continue to drive user adoption and find out what works. And now the goal with that is that we then create best practices for all the DJs that are leveraging and KJs that are leveraging KaraoQ to find what are the best practices in order to get more people downloading and using the app, and then they can double down and drive that. Right now we actually see really good results. We have over a 4-hour dwell time. So it's from the time someone comes into the venue, checks into the app, to the time that they check out and leave is about 4.5 hours.
Wow.
So I make the analogy, but that's longer than most concerts, most movies, binge watching, 4 or 5 episodes of Sons of Anarchy.
Now, could that mean that they just are merely logged on and haven't logged off, or does that show you activity? Actually,
there's actual activity that's being tracked. So whether it's signing up for a song, browsing the songbook, rating a performer, refreshing their screen to see when they're up next in the queue, tipping or bumping, any of those active activities that are showing that they're still engaged at the venue.
Let's talk for a second, and I know that there's been some discussion on the internet, and there's been discussion in some of the forums, and there's good talk about KaraoQ, and one of the things that we've talked about is that bump feature. The old school KJs, maybe myself and Joni and some of the other guys, there's been, and I don't have an issue with it, but there's been some blowback on the bump issue because of rotation integrity. How is that going on? How is that?
I'll say this. Right now we're collecting in or pulling in for the DJ about $70 in bump revenue for the ones that are actively promoting the KaraoQ app.
Per night?
Per night.
Now, have you done a demographic study on that for the age group of the actual singers?
Yeah, I mean it's the typical 25 to 35 age range. If you look at kind of like the millennial age range that are more adaptive to using the mobile apps, they also are more adapt to using digital payment technologies, so PayPal, Venmo, credit card. Just the recent feature we put in, and we think that number could even spike, is now they can create multiple payment methods and even scan their credit card. So in the earlier versions, they had to manually input a card number each time. Very laborious, especially if your card is up at the bar because you have a tab.
Right.
So now they can scan the card initially, and it saves it into the KaraoQ platform on a secure merchant account. And they can add PayPal and Venmo and other payment methods so that it becomes a one-touch process for them to go tip or bump.
Kind of like buying stuff for your phone apps on Google.
Right. That's right.
Well, it's new technology.
And, we had spoken with another DJ that was like, well, I don't really want to use it, but if I can't turn it off, I'm like, well, set the bump amount really, really high and limit it to one bump per night. And if you end up getting a $100 bump, then
you've got a
Merry
$100
Christmas,
bump. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And he was like, well, now I'm kind of
right.
warming up to it.
You and I spoke about that off camera. We spoke about that.
Sure.
Bumping that up because my singer's at a show and they're real OCD or ADD or whatever about their place in the rotation.
Sure.
And they watch the screens, and they're real particular about getting pushed back or pushed forward. And these are the guys that keep coming in all the time. However, I've had it in play, and I'm sure you have too. I've got it's called the C note bump.
Yeah.
You bring me a C note, and you're going to be bumped all the way to the top.
Yeah,
and people understand that. And it has worked.
Yeah.
Over the years, but and I'm not opposed to it. I would like to. I'm interested in doing that.
Well, I think the big thing that it drives back to is transparency. Like as a singer performer myself for karaoke, and I've gotten this feedback from people that we've surveyed. They don't like if they've been moved down the list and they thought they were 2 songs away and they don't know that they were moved down. Right. Or likewise, if whatever type of positioning change happened, they just want the transparency and stuff like venue queue. To show the queue on a television screen where they can see it live, and then also just simply using the app to go view the queue at any point in time and getting a push notification to see that you've been moved up or down or where you're at next. The transparency is what really drives that.
Okay.
Our culture understands instant gratification and on-demand experiences. If you look at Netflix, Spotify, Pandora, Hulu, it's all about paying some amount of money to get whatever you want right now when you want to go pull it up.
It's the new world.
I mean, it is, for better or for worse. And I think, again, it just drives back to transparency. And we've not had any blowback from any of the DJs or KJs that have used it. And the ones that are getting even $20 a night are saying, hey, that's extra cash in my pocket. And it's simplifying the process, which is one of the really, one of the big drivers. We had just formed a DJ advisory board about a month ago. We had our second meeting yesterday. And we're getting feedback from these 5 pilot sites that are trying the different marketing materials for patrons. And the consensus on the call was our goal is to have a good hosted show and for the performers on stage to enjoy their experience and sound as good as possible. And it's really hard for the DJ to do that when they keep taking requests of, no, over there's the song, but here's the pieces of paper. No, I don't have that song. Yes, you're still in the queue.
Yeah, and at that time you realize that your mic isn't on because you muted it to clean it or something, and the singer's going, but you're too busy taking. Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, we've seen it. We've went and studied a good 25, 30 karaoke bars or venues that just offer one more nights of karaoke. And we see that
it's like hiring an assistant.
Basically.
Yeah, do this for me while I can take care of the sound of the singer and make sure that they sound the best.
That's right. It lets them focus back on the people and not the process, which is the big value driver for the DJ. And I mean, as we heard through some of ours on the advisory board, any additional money they get is a bonus.
Right.
But the ability for them to then be able to go offer insight to the venues. Specifically, we had Danny Lewis with Tsunami Karaoke come back and say, well, right after Halloween, our business drops off for a good 3 weeks. And I always have to go back and try to warm up the venue and let them be prepared. Right after Halloween up into Thanksgiving, we're going to have a drop-off in business. And he's worried about retaining those venues as his nights of karaoke. And if they see that it's not performing well, all of a sudden it's a red flag. Well, to be able to leverage KaraoQ to go back and give that venue data ahead of time. Hey, we dip at this point in time in the year. And by the way, all the other ones in this area, this 50-mile radius, also dip. So it becomes informative to them. And likewise, we'd asked another one of the DJs in San Antonio, what do you do if the venue says, I don't think that I'm getting a lot of value from you? Can you show them how many times patrons are coming back? Can you show them how long they're staying, how much they're spending, what they're doing?
This is real-time information.
I have a question. Right. Okay, what is the cost to the karaoke DJ? What is the cost to the venue? What is the cost to the karaoke singer?
Sure. So, taking KaraoQ 360 aside for a second, the integrated product,
Right.
KaraoQ in and of itself is free, so they don't pay any type of monthly fee or subscription.
Who's
for the DJ or the venue.
Okay.
So in the case of the DJ, we take 25% of tips and bumps.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, we might have gotten some blowback of like, oh, well, you're taking my money, and
But you produce in the software.
well, and we also say it this way, you know, that's unrealized revenue today, because if your DJ cannot accept PayPal and Venmo and credit card, and they're only using a cash tip jar, that's money they're not earning today.
Yeah.
Right.
Because not everybody carries cash.
Exactly. I mean, I never carry cash.
Right.
The last thing I want to do at a bar is lose a bunch of cash,
Right.
and then I never get it back. But
Right.
if I lose a debit card, I can cancel it and get a new
Right.
one.
Right.
And then for the venue, they get the benefit of the analytics, the patron tracking, and the marketing side, and they also don't pay anything for it. It becomes a value add that the DJ can offer up to the venue to say, hey, there's all this data now sitting out there that you guys can leverage for marketing. And that becomes a win-win for the DJ and the venue. And he can kind of come in and say, hey, I got all this patron data now. We can market to them on their birthdays and send them a special. We can target people one way while they're in the bar, and one way when they're outside the bar to get them to come back.
Okay. And that's the benefit of the venue, correct?
Correct. That's
and now
right.
what does that cost them to?
Nothing.
Nothing. They can just get
They just have to assign somebody to actually
do
that.
the
Just
correct.
the person
send
that's
out
in
a
charge of
message going,
Facebook.
hey guys, karaoke tonight, or hey next week. You
And
know.
the DJ can send those push notifications too. So again, it becomes a more of a patron engagement platform for the venues, for them to be able to piggyback off of the data just simply based
Right.
off the DJ or KJ
Right.
using that software.
Okay, for the average person who's not computer savvy, how difficult is that to do? To send a notifications off.
Well, I'll put it this way: when you go to send push notification, there's a text box. It's at 130 characters. It'll tell you it's counting down as you type in the characters.
Okay.
When you're out, just like Twitter.
Right.
And you
then
hit push.
Wow, that's
simple.
It's gonna be simpler than that.
How easy can that be? That's
Yeah, and it's set to all by default, but you can actually select the variation so that you could say just people checked in. So, hey, everybody, if you're checked in, remember to only...
text.
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll get an SMS directly through the app. But you can send something completely different if you check the box to only send the push notification to people not at the venue.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
could say, come out tonight at 9 o'clock, we're
A
having a
reminder.
special from 9 to 10 or whatever, and
Okay.
get them to come back out to the venue.
Okay.
Or if
Now-
you're having a slow night to your regulars, hey guys, come on down, you
Right.
get a chance to sing
Now,
tonight.
the push,
That's right.
now,
No
we've
long
done
wait.
the push notification, and it's across all platforms like iPhones and Androids and everything.
iPhones
else.
and Androids, that's
Okay,
right.
Okay. Tablets.
Yep.
Or anything that's Wi-Fi and all that.
That's right.
Okay.
And then to speak to your point about the cost of the patrons, it's also a free app on the App Store and Google Play. So there's no barrier of entry for the patron. They can download it for free, and then just simply check into your venue and start using
Right.
it.
Okay,
Now,
so
for the KJ, they have to use the platform. It's right now integrated with PCDJ.
PCDJ KaraokeQnA, yeah.
Oh,
And it'll be
KaraokeQnA.
bundled with the KaraoQ 360 product, which
Okay,
is,
okay.
it's really taken PCDJ KaraokeQnA and branding it as KaraoQ 360 with some additional enhancements to make it very tightly integrated with the KaraoQ platform.
Any further plans? Some of the other brands like CompuHost.
Yes, we've actually been reached out through a
Glenn.
couple. I don't know if I guess I can name them, like K-Jams,
Happy
I know
Right,
is one that's probably hot to get it next.
Right.
Virtual DJ as well,
Okay.
which spans outside of kind of the karaoke industry
Yes,
for
it
their
does.
software.
Right, it does.
Obviously, we look at CompuHost, Sax and Dottie Show Presenter, and there's a couple of others in there as well. So we're really just focusing, though, on getting this existing integration very well executed.
Right.
And by doing that, the future integrations will be more seamless and more transparent.
how difficult is it to? I mean, you get your songbook on there too, right? That's the whole purpose, so that
That's
they
right.
you don't have to print songbooks. How difficult is it to get your database onto the server or to
Yeah,
the,
so if you're
the
using
app?
KaraoQ 360, it's actually an integrated process. The moment that you start up that product, we have a tool that's called Sync. It'll go run through and do all of that stuff for you.
Okay.
If you're not using that product and you're using CompuHost or K-Jams or something else, you simply export your songbook, and we ask you to upload it onto our site in the specific format that we've outlined. And that's where you would log into your KaraoQ account, and there's a link that says Songbooks.
Right.
You click on there, you go browse for a comma-separated file, Excel file, whatever you've dumped it out in your existing software. And when you upload it, we go through what we call a metadata process. What that really means is getting the song title, the artist, genre, disc, all of those different types of attributes of that track. We clean it up, we properly format it so that a patron can easily search for it in the songbook, and then we make it available. So it's pretty seamless. Once they've uploaded it, it usually takes, depending on the songbook size, anywhere from 5 minutes to maybe 20 minutes for it to be processed and be live within the app. So if you started at midday, by that night's show, your songbook would be attached to that venue and you could start running it.
Awesome. So the program's going well for you, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You know, I know you've got questions about it. I've got questions about it. Obviously, we're both users of KaraokeQnA, but we want to find a way to integrate that into what we're doing. I think in another conversation you said you've got a guy in Nashville that is using it. What program's he running?
He's using Saxon Dottie Show Presenter, and also we have a couple of other DJs that are using KaraokeQnA.
Okay.
And how does that work with that right now?
Typically, the process that they've started to do is, again, KaraoQ is also a web-based product. And for the DJ, when they log into KaraoQ.com/connect/DJ, they log in with their credentials, they're able to see the actual live queue as people have requested songs from the mobile app or the kiosk.
But that doesn't reflect what's in your queue.
Not directly, no. Okay. So because that part's not integrated with CompuHost, what we've seen them do is kind of a best practice that makes it a little bit more expedited. They'll look at the actual queue in KaraoQ, and they will mark songs as played or bumped or all of those other things directly in the web app, and they'll simply go to their existing software and look at the first 4 or 5 songs in KaraoQ and go ahead and queue those up in their software. So as you've got 10 requests sitting in KaraoQ, I got somebody up there singing right now, I'm going to go ahead and put in the next 4 or 5 inside CompuHost or Saxon Dottie. And then as I'm playing those off, I just go mark them as played in KaraoQ, and it keeps the process moving for the mobile app users.
Okay.
So, like the ticker across the bottom of the screen, I do 10 singers.
Right.
So
you want to keep 10
You want to keep 10,
order.
but just make sure those top 10 are exactly right.
Yeah, that's right.
Put your top 10 in your CompuHost and your top 10 in KaraoQ. They should match.
That's right, yeah. Okay. So what you would do is, in her case, if she's doing 10, once she's got those more than 10 entries, she's just going to make sure that those 10 that are in CompuHost are the ones that are in sync.
Gotcha.
And if there's 22 requests sitting in the KaraoQ queue, you just simply don't worry about the ones that are lower down until they're getting pushed up into that top 10.
Okay, but which, the KaraoQ, that's going to be a separate computer?
It can be on the same computer, just the web page. Depending on how you... So
running in background.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can literally, like, what I see Kat do is he'll just alt-tab between the windows or minimize KaraoQ whenever he's putting his 10 inside Saxon Dottie. And then he'll start going through some of those. When he's ready to put in his next set, he just pulls back up the web page, looks at it, types them in, minimizes it again. It doesn't have to run on a separate computer.
When are we going to get this integrated with the CompuHost, so that there's not the extra work?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, that drives back to the necessity and the need and the urgency that DJs and KJs that are using CompuHost push to them.
So we have so if you're using CompuHost, write to who?
Contact your support at CompuHost and let them know that you're using the KaraoQ or you're considering the KaraoQ, and they won't do it unless we push them.
Yeah.
And we all because we're CompuHost users, we love the program, the program you've got.
Sure.
We're trying to find a way to get both of them to work together, because the biggest selling point for me is, as long as my venues, and that's the most important part about this really, is the venues. If the venues aren't happy, we don't have a job.
You don't have a job.
And if we can give them information to let them know how their shows are actually working, and we know kind of the same information they know from this year to last year, how business fluctuates.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you right now, the venues don't have any insight as to demographics or behavior. How many times one person is coming back within a 30-day period, how many times they refer to other people, how long they're staying in a bar. I can guarantee you they don't know any of that information today.
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't.
And then looking at the demographic data, male versus female, age range, spend, behavior, psychographics. All of those things we natively track within KaraoQ.
And we need to become psychologists.
We don't need to. I mean, it's going to
do it. The app kind of does it for you.
Yeah.
The owner of the venue, and sometimes they're absent on the nights we're doing karaoke.
Sure.
They're looking at the tape at the end of the day
That's
to
right.
see we made X amount of dollars. They're not looking at the demographics, and this is information
That's right.
I would love to pass along to them.
And again, we've seen DJs that are using this and have increased their nights of karaoke at that one venue.
Yeah, because
they could go back and show value. And the first time that I remember he said I showed my bar owner the 57 or whatever it was patron records that they had on the venue side of KaraoQ. that they had the name and the birthday and the email, and they can go market to those now more directly than a random Facebook or Twitter post, which really has no true engagement. Facebook can tell you that somebody has seen this ad or this post X amount of times.
But people lie about their age and their names and everything else on Facebook.
And then on top of that, you don't know what the actual conversion is, right? Did they actually come to the bar because of that Facebook ad? They'll never know.
Right. Okay.
You physically know that through KaraoQ that user has come in and checked in.
So you have to remind them too when they come in to check in, right? So that
they won't be able to sign up for a song or do anything unless they've checked in.
Okay.
That's right.
And I like the push notifications.
It's captive. It's basically captive marketing for the venue or for the DJ. So if the DJ or KJ has a following, he can go out and market to any of his followers or the people that follow the venue.
Or the people that are signed up for KaraoQ, maybe not even one of your people, but you're the only one in town doing it, and people are on vacation. They go, oh, they have it at this bar, let's go check it out.
Or if you're trying to acquire another bar, and the first thing they say is, where's your following? You can notify your following.
You can show them. Here it is,
Look,
right
you
here.
can physically show them, I have, 374 people in this Tri-City area that's all following me.
Yeah.
And I think
I have the ability to send them your drink specials and your karaoke time, and
that's right.
Yeah.
New show information.
That's great.
Things like that. I'm digging
that let's go back to the fourth episode when we were saying what else can you do to get more money or to make yourself appear more valuable.
More valuable.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it all comes down to data, and you're going to have some old school venue owners that are like, I don't really care, it is what it is, but especially the ones that we've seen that are they're trying to grow their business. They're trying to keep a steady inflow of patrons and get them there longer. What does that mean? That means they're buying more drinks, or they're spending more time there, and their satisfaction engagement level is up. You have to have data to know what your baseline is before you can try to improve anything.
Okay, so how do we go to a venue? And I'm not versed enough to talk to them, what you just told us.
Sure.
Is there, of course, they can go to the website and get information. Are there any type tutorials or any type of...
on KaraokeQnA.com, under the Get KaraoQ menu option, there's support documentation. We have FAQ, so frequently asked questions from a patron perspective, a DJ perspective, and a venue perspective. Okay. We also have a couple of tutorial videos for a venue and for a DJ on how to use the KJ Connect and Venue Connect platforms.
Okay.
And then just some simple instructions, some graphics, some promotional materials. And those promotional materials span anywhere from audio spots that they can just simply play back in the PA system that explain to the patron about KaraoQ and the benefits. There's video spots, and they're as short as 15 seconds. So when you talk about integrating with CompuHost, a simple thing would be to go to KaraoQ.com/promote, download in a zip file the audio and video and even CDG files of KaraoQ, and simply put them into your nightly rotation every 3 or 4 songs. And now as you're going through your night of entertainment, you'll have a 10, a 15-second, a 30-second spot that's some of them are pretty catchy, a little bit comedic. Like, are you tired of that old nasty songbook? Stuff like that. And people are like, hell yes, I am.
Who touched that
Somebody
song?
turn on a black light. I don't even want to touch that thing. So think about it.
Another subject for another day.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, good point.
So those types of things, and there's even one where the guy's talking about, I really want to sing, but this place is so packed, I'll never get up there to sing. And he's like, oh, man, you don't know about KaraoQ? You can bump yourself up right now.
Right.
So those types of things, because it's a big shift for what the patrons are used to. And you talked about the cue rotation. There's always, like, salting of the rotation. And, well, if it's a new singer, I'm putting them in. Or if they drop the C note. The bumping process typically happens anyways. Like if we're all being really honest, if somebody comes up and drops a bill in your lap, you're gonna be like, grab the mic.
Right.
A big bill, yeah.
Yeah. So this is giving the ability also for you guys to control it though, so you can control how many bumps somebody does in a night. We had some DJs that were concerned about, well, if they've got all the money, they'll just keep paying to move themselves up
and they'll
over
sing
and over and over
all
again.
night long.
So you can
so you just limit it and say you get 1 bump, so you better make it count. And you can change the price, so we use an Uber-style surge pricing.
Can you do, okay, I know the exact karaoke singer that you're talking about right there. So can you do, okay, your first bump is going to be $10. And then on your second song, you want to bump again. Now you got to pay me $20. And if you want to say, if you get around to a third time, you want to, and now it's $40.
So we don't have it based off of a specific performer level yet, and that may be something that we can look at.
Yeah, because there is that one. You have that one guy that wants to sing all night, and he throws you $60. Come on, get me up. It's like
so I mean, what we have is obviously if he moves to the back of the rotation, and let's say there's 30 people in the queue, you as the KJ can define in the KJ Connect platform when the queue reaches 10 people, we're going to charge this amount. If it reaches 20, we're going to charge this. And when it reaches 30, it's going to charge this.
Surge.
So, yes, supply and demand. So now if I'm
Gotcha.
coming in at 32nd and I want to move to second and it's $10 per spot to move up, I'm getting ready to drop $300 to move up. So it then becomes that balance of supply and demand and how much are you willing to pay for the convenience and the on-demand.
So the singer gets to see that. They get to see, you know,
Absolutely.
this is how many slots I want to get bumped up.
Once they've hit the bump button inside the queue, and by the way, anybody can move anybody up.
Okay.
So if there's a pretty girl in the corner of the room and she sings like,
hey guy, you need to
I
get
can't
that
say
chick
I
up
can't
real
say it,
quick.
Del.
Yeah.
If she sings really beautiful, and you want to move her up.
Alison Krauss. She sings Alison
There you
Krauss.
go. Sarah McLachlan, like
yeah.
Arms of an Angel.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to move her up, you can pick her in the queue and then choose how many spots you want to move her up, and she'll get a push notification that you moved her up.
Oh, she does.
Which
So like,
creates
hey,
a
this
completely
guy,
different social.
this guy bumped you up. Like, oh.
That's right. So
Now do they know who created the bump? Or is it anonymous?
it's anonymous right now.
Okay.
We may get to that point, but they'll have to be a friend or a follower before we do
Okay.
that, and that's
Okay,
coming
gotcha.
in KaraoQ
Gotcha.
version 2.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. So you
Okay.
can follow other karaoke singers.
You can follow singers in version 2. There's also a leaderboard for each venue, so you can see the most popular singers based off of how many times they've been rated 1 to 5 stars. You can see other people's song history.
I do like this.
You can see other people. We had a music executive at Universal call it the Spotify for karaoke when they saw KaraoQ version 2 and the beautifulness and the simplicity and like the graphics and the user interface.
But that's not out yet.
It's not. It's going to be
is-
coming at Nightclub and Bar and Mobile Beat in March.
Okay.
So
We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll
be there too.
Yeah, good.
So, but yeah, and then just going back, you asked about will they be able to see how much it is. We basically show them on the bump screen, you are currently 32nd in line.
Okay.
You can move up however many positions. They pick it, and it tells them in real time, based off that surge pricing that the DJ has set, what that bump price is. And they simply hit bump me. They then get taken to either entering in a credit card or a Venmo or PayPal, or if they already have a defaulted payment method, it'll simply pay it. And then off to the races they go.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
I'm liking it.
And then we as the KJ get a check?
So there's 2 ways that you can get paid. It's either ACH or PayPal. So when you come into the KaraoQ platform, you'll actually see in your settings.
What's ACH?
ACH is like actually no, it's
Apple or
direct to your
something?
check, direct to your checking account.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I think it's automatic checking something.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm thinking it's some pay
Acronyms.
plan that I didn't know about
No,
yet.
no.
Kind of like Square.
It goes on your
Yeah,
like Square.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that on my bank.
So normally
statements.
the first one will take anywhere from 3 to 5 days, and then if you've got money that's coming in through the app every night, you're going to just continue the next day to get an ACH directly deposited to your account. And even for the tip screen, we got a lot of feedback from the DJs and KJs that they were having to just rely on the tip jar for tips. And we actually designed the tip screen with psychographic data in mind to get people to trigger into the middle of the tip screen more frequently. So instead of getting, a couple of bucks, you're typically getting $10.
Okay,
on
so wait a minute.
average.
So there's an actual feature that you can bump for money, and there's actually a tip screen too?
Yes, when you go to the home screen of KaraoQ, once you've checked into that venue, it'll
I love
show
you. Are you married?
DJ. Long story.
Another show.
Sorry.
Another show, yeah. We'll bring Oprah and Dr. Phil in for that one. It'll show DJ Hal is
Focus.
running tonight's karaoke experience, and I can follow you. I can sign up to sing. I can follow the venue, and just beneath that is tip the DJ. And when I go there, by the way, they can't tip anything less than $5.
Okay.
So you're always going to get at least a minimum $5 tip. They can also enter in any amount that they want to, but it's set to $5, $10, and $20. And the way it's designed, they're more triggered to go to the $10 or the $20 because it sits in between the 5 and the other amount.
Gotcha.
So those types of things are driving back. And again, people don't carry cash, and so I've seen countless times at bars downtown, people walk in with a tip jar. And I see this, like, I don't have any cash.
I
Those
see it a
types of
lot.
symbols.
I see it a lot. I stopped putting out a jar because people don't carry cash.
I never
But
put it in a jar.
I've had people drop coins in there, and I'm like,
Right.
just keep the coins in your pocket.
Hey, those coins add up.
They do add up. Now, another question about the program is if I'm in if I'm working in my venue tonight, somebody can't log in at home and just play with the rotation. They can't log in at home and sign in and all that for the venue. They actually have to be in the venue.
Well, there's geo-awareness where they can find the actual discovery of the venue.
Okay.
We have not integrated yet a feature similar to Foursquare if it says you're too far away.
Yeah, because people will be
But
like, I'll get in the
if you
rotation
see
now.
that happens, you can block the user and it'll block them for the entire rotation.
Okay.
They will not be able to be unblocked until that rotation is closed and a new business day has occurred.
Got you. But you're working on that. You're working on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or until they come up and apologize.
Well, in addition to that, like right now, it's actually been a beneficial feature because we've seen some people that are actually wanting to think of it as call ahead singing for them the ability to get into the queue before they're there. If there's 20 people in line and I'm on my way there, it's like, oh man, it's already a big wait. You can jump in the queue, and we're looking at, based off of DJ feedback, if we want to monetize that at some point. Oh, we detect that you're more than a mile away from the venue. You can get in the queue, but you're going to have to pay a couple of bucks or whatever it is.
Got you.
And then when you even and when you even talked about the ability of, one of the hardcore people like not wanting to have their position changed in the queue, what we're looking at for version 2 is also an anchor down feature. That at the moment that they've signed up for their first song, they can pay like $2 and anchor down so that they will not get moved out of that spot.
That's nice.
Okay.
Now, they may have not gotten ever moved anyways, but if they're worried about it, they can go ahead and pay an additional fee in order to anchor down in their spot so that they can never be leapfrogged.
On their first song?
Every time they sign up for a song, they could pay money to anchor.
Every time.
Even by a bump?
Even by a bump. So if you look at an example of I'm fourth and I've anchored down,
right.
Somebody could not bump to the fourth position. They could bump to the third, and the third would fall to the fifth, and I would still remain fourth.
Gotcha. Understand.
And we could naturally progress how much it costs to anchor down based off of the volume of the queue, the surge pricing again.
Right.
And this is things people do in some other platforms and applications today. They've just, karaoke is an industry where it's focused on the technology side for the DJ and is really not evolved for the patron or for the venue. And these are giving them the ability to go do that stuff.
Another question is, once they're in the rotation inside the program and they've sung their song, do they have to re-up for their next song, or can they stay in the rotation and simply enter a song as they go along? Or once they've sung, they're dropped and they have to re-sign again?
It's not dissimilar to a paper slip in that they've signed up for a song. Some DJs say, well, you can only sign up for one. So you have the ability to limit that, obviously. But if they've signed up for more than one song, they'll stay in the queue for the second song that they've signed up for. Their first song drops off, the queue adjusts and moves up.
Gotcha.
And they're still in the queue for their second song.
So if they haven't decided on their second song, but they're going to stay in, is there a way to game it?
Well, that's the other thing is they can sign up for a song to get a placeholder, and once they've gone back to the queue, their place in line remains, and it'll progress as the queue progresses, and there's a change and a cancel. So if they're getting ready to leave, like, it's time to go, it's getting to the witching hour, I'm going to turn into a pumpkin, cancel, check out, and it removes it from the queue so that you, the DJ, are not spending 30 seconds of dead air time saying, Michael going once, Michael going twice.
If they bump to get to that spot and then they decide to leave, do they get their money back?
They do not. At least not right now. That's kind of like you paid for the on-demand and you've left.
Don't even put that feature. Just, if they pay for
it. I'm just asking.
Yeah, you got too bad, too sad.
Now, there is something that we're working on that for version 2, if there's only 20 minutes left in the night and they've paid to move up to 7th,
and they're not going to make it.
Well, we're probably going to just notify them and say, your best bet is to move to 3rd or 4th in order to get your song heard tonight.
Okay.
There's no guarantee that at 7 you're going to be able to get moved up and still be heard. So
makes sense.
Those types of features that we're working on to just tighten up the experience a little bit more.
A lot of information.
I know. See,
I'm loving the program.
And he was like, "This isn't going to work for me." Now he's going, "Okay, I can see this working now."
We haven't spent a lot of time together on this.
Sure.
And it's such in the beginning stages. I actually we used the program in Knoxville when we did a kickoff. And I found it to be, and Michael knows this, I found it to be a little clunky because I was using CopyHost and at the same time, but I wasn't familiar with the program yet.
Sure.
I do want to sit down and go through the program again, and I know there were some edges that we're trying to smooth out and things like that.
Sure, yeah. I think it was maybe June or something.
It was
May.
June, it was during the
we had been launched for maybe a month, so...
Yeah.
And we worked through a lot of the issues since then,
Right.
and that's been the positive thing. And as we integrate,
We were having Wi-Fi issues as well.
That's
in
right.
That building.
That's
We were
right.
having Wi-Fi issues.
as the DJs really push hard to have their software be a part of the KaraoQ integration, that just makes it very hands-off at that
Right,
point, right?
right.
You're used to doing your own experience and your own process inside CompuHost or KJAMs.
Right.
And once KaraoQ integrates natively, it's going to be a lot simpler for you guys.
So the question I have is if there's no Wi-Fi in the venue, can you still run the KaraoQ?
As long as they have mobile data reception on their phone, Wi-Fi is not
Okay.
at all required. Now, if you're doing karaoke in a basement, you're going to need some type of way for them to be able to connect to the internet to actively download the app, and likewise for you to have the integrated queue.
Yeah, so like on your cell phone where you see the little symbol.
The bars, yeah.
Yeah, it's either turn Wi-Fi off or on, and you can still. Sometimes I can Google search better with the Wi-Fi off.
Sure.
You know, because it's searching for Wi-Fi.
We have some venues that they were using Wi-Fi, and because everybody's jumping on the Wi-Fi, it's just more convoluted. So
But I mean, the DJ has to use Wi-Fi for his.
he
part
needs
of
an
the
active
program.
internet connection.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Whether that's Wi-Fi or a hotspot
Or bring
or
your
cell
own.
data, whatever.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, fantastic.
You know, we've gone long on this one, and
but there's
I
so
want-
much information.
There's a ton of information on this, and I want to thank Michael with KaraoQ. And, you know, this is, I know you guys have a lot of questions. I've still got questions. We're going to spend a lot of time together talking more about this as we go along.
I know I'm going to try before I leave back to Pittsburgh to get this up because I want to use it Tuesday.
Right.
I do. I'm
Right.
so,
We'll
I'm
get you
like
there.
so geeked.
Right.
Awesome.
Guys, thanks for watching our show. Check out our next show. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks.